Hey guys, it's Maymay and we are back for part two of our little tag album. And you can see that I already put all my little photo spots in, and I wanted to show you how it changes the thickness. It's not terrible. I also have to tell you, I'm filming in a different space today. We had a water leak in my room. I don't know if you guys remember me telling you that I felt like paper and stuff in my room was kind of wet. Well, it was. The humidity was up in my room, which is also, I believe, what's happening to my chipboard. This was in the room where the water leak was. It didn't get wet. It was just in the room. So if you notice that, that's what's happening to me. So I'm filming in a different spot, so things may be a little bit weird, but we can get through it. All right, so here's this guy. Let's work on what I'm going to be putting in here to let the recipient know what to do with these little pockets. So here's what we're going to do. First, I'm going to take a piece of cardstock and I'm going to cut a piece 4.5 tall. Then we're going to cut it down to 2 7/8 wide. Now, these spots are for 3x4 photos, but they don't hold exactly 3x4. They're close, but not exact. So I'm doing these at 2 7/8. And you're going to need one of these for every photo spot. So it's taking a couple pieces of cardstock, but we'll get this done. So I'm going to get 8 of these cut. And now what I want to do is I want to punch the corners of these and make them tag shaped. Now, if you don't have a punch, I am using my large punch from my We Are Memory Keepers angle punch. But if you don't have the punch, you can just cut this with your scissors. This is about 1/2 inch. It's a little less than 1/2 inch. So I would probably do like 3/8 of an inch there on my little angle. Because you'll see how it fits in the book. You don't want it to be too deep of a tag. So this kind of works perfectly. All right, so you get 8 of those done, and now we need to stamp them. So I'm just going to do place photo here, and I want it to be kind of low center because this is actually going to stick out of our little photo pocket. And I'm using our stamp set called Prompted Album. It looks like this. So I'm going to be using place photo here. You could also put the size, but because I think the person's going to have to kind of edit them down a little bit, I'm not going to add a size to this. I'm just going to do place photo here, and then they'll know as long as they stay in this area, it will fit. All right, so I'm going to pick this up and get some ink. And I'm just going to stamp each one of them place photo here. Now these little guys are going to go right into our little pockets just like this, and it'll just tell the recipient that is what you do there. You place a photo here. And let me show you something you may have to do. I had to on mine. Some of mine, when I applied them, some of my glue seeped a little bit, but I'm just taking one of my little spatulas and running it in there and just making sure that everything's loose before I push these guys in, and that helps me get those in there easier. And now I have every one of those saying what needs to happen there. So that's perfect. We can come back and add cutesies in a little bit. Let's talk about this front. Now I told you I wanted to make a shaker element out of this, and let me show you what my plan is. So I have this scrap piece that I wrote template on. I accidentally scored this for another project I was working on, and rather than throw it away, I'm going to use it as a template. So this piece, I cut the same size as these guys, which was 4 3/4 by 6 1/4. So that's what I'm starting with here because I want it to mat in just like those layers do. Now I'm going to treat it just like I did those in that I'm going to lay it here where I want it to be along the bottom. See, I've got my little edge showing all the way around, and I'm going to take my pencil and make my mark up here for where my 1/8 of an inch end should be, just like we did on the inside. And that is going to help me make sure this is just right. Now, this is going to be a template. This will not be the actual finished project or product. So this is just to get us started. Then just cutting from pencil mark to get my points. There we go. All right, now we have to do a little bit of fancy footwork, okay? So here's what we're going to do. We're going to fold this in half. All right, so just take this guy, fold him in half. You could do this with your ruler and a pencil and all that, but this just works really easy if you do it this way. So I'm going to fold him in half just like that. Okay, so that finds the center. Now what I want to do is I want to take this edge and I want to fold it to that point. So I'm going to come just like this. Take this guy, line him up on that point, and then crease him. Because I don't really want the center. I really want the center of this edge. Now for camera, I'm going to draw this with a pencil or a marker so you can see it. So there's my little cross mark so I can see where to line this up. And now I have a piece that is 3 3/4 by 3 3/4, and we're going to fold it in half and find the middle as well. Now remember, this is just a template, so you only have to do this one time. Once we get this guy, the center cut out, we're good to go. Now we'll take our cross marks here and we're going to line them up on our cross marks that we have drawn earlier. Now my marks got a little bit off with my marker, so I'm going to cheat it just a little bit. I'm pretty close, but I'm moving this line over a little bit so I have the same distance here and here. And this distance should be 1/2 inch, so you can measure it if you need to. Mine is not quite 1/2 inch. Let's get it there. There we go. And let's measure this side. Perfect, 1/2 inch. And I should be 1/2 inch up from the bottom, and I am. So now what I want to do, I need to straighten a little bit. Okay, now I'm going to trace this. If you have an electronic cutting machine, you can totally just build this on your cutting machine. That would be no issue, be super easy to do. But if you don't, this is how you can get it done without it. All right, so that's the hard part, okay? Now all we're going to do is cut this square out. I'm doing that by making a hole in the middle with my scissors. I'm going to cut up to that first corner. This is how I like to do this. I cut right to that corner, then I'll come back and cut right to that corner. And then I'm going to do the same down here on both sides. And then I'm just going to clean that up by just cutting all of that away, following our pencil mark. Okay, I'm going to flip this over so it looks nice and clean and you can see what that looks like. That's what we were trying to create. And you might want to write on here what this template is so you can use it later and not have to do all that again. Now let's go to our paper. Okay, now what we want to do is we want to pick the page that's going to be this piece. And I want you to remember that for mine, I wanted this to show through and be like the daylight scene. And I'm going to be putting snowflakes in here as my shaker element. I think that'll be cute, like in the snow. So I need to pick a frame that's going to show that off. So I'm just going to look through the pages and see what I can find. What might be cute is to try to match that up exactly and just have that same border show. I don't know. Let's just see what we can do. Okay, I think I'm going to use this little snowflake page because it'll really let that pop in there. So here's what we're going to do. We're going to do some tracing. The first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to trace that center section and around my tag. This is why you want to make your templates with cardstock so that they're easier to trace. Now I'm just cutting him out just like we did the template. I don't know if this is a tip or not, but when I cut these guys out, I cut from underneath. And the reason I do that is I can see my cut line really clearly when my hand is out of the way. So you see I'm keeping my hand underneath and it doesn't block anything I'm having to cut. I just find that super easy. So now what I'm going to do is put some acetate on here. So I'm going to flip this guy over and I've just got a piece of acetate that's just enough to go behind like this. So that's going to get stuck down right there. And it looks like I can use some sticky tape to do that. So I've got all my sticky tape on and now I'll just reveal it. So are you intimidated by shakers? Are shakers not your favorite thing? Some people really do not like to do a shaker. Once you understand that it's just a sandwich you have to assemble, it's a lot easier to do. So you see here we've got a piece of cardstock. We're going to put a piece of acetate to sandwich inside of there. It doesn't have to be perfect either because the acetate is going to be great on the other side no matter what. And if yours hangs off anywhere, you can cut it. And we're going to be applying more adhesive here anyway, so it's going to be fine. I think you just have to take some of the pressure off to do it. You know, just be like, I got this. Okay, I'm going to use this tape that is a little bit taller, okay? It's not thicker. It's actually thinner than my Scotty. So here's Scotty, but I want you to see the difference. Do you see how thin my Scotty is versus, I should say, how short my Scotty is versus how tall my pear blossom is? Here's the thing. You can totally use this. You just want to use at least 2 layers of it. I'm just going to use this one because it's just right. It's even the right size for me. So I'm going to go ahead and cut a piece. Now, you want to make sure that you don't leave any holes because you don't want anything to fall out. So do yourself a little test run to get your length. You might even want to just go ahead and stick it down. We'll start right about here. The pieces I'm putting in are pretty big, so I don't believe they're going to go anywhere. I don't think they're going to fall out, but I'm going to get this right to this little edge. This is what creates the barrier for what we put inside. And it's also what lifts our little tag up off the page. Now I just want to butt this piece up to the last one, making sure I don't leave a hole. Just seal this down. I'm going to go ahead and take this all the way to the edge of the tag because I want to pop the whole thing up anyway. So I'm just going to do this, and then I may have to do a little more trimming there because I didn't really pay attention. No, we're good. It's all behind there. And I'm going to do that same thing on the other side. All right, closing off the little box at the top. So I've just made a container here. That's all we've done. Then I'm going to add more foam up here so that this will pop up as well. I also plan to add ribbon up here and poke a hole, but here's the thing. I want this to pop up, so I'm going to poke the hole through my foam. I just want to make sure this stays on nice and sturdy. So I'm not too worried about where that hole is going to go. It might even land in here, but I know my hole punch will go through the foam, so it's no big deal. Okay, so that's what I'm going to leave this like. I may stick some of these little offcuts that I had up here just to give that a little more strength. There we go. That'll be nice. Okay, now we're through with our template. Let's bring this little guy back over, and this is going to go just like this. This is the sandwich. Isn't that cute? That's precious. Okay, this is what I mean. We've created our top layer. Okay, we've sandwiched all this together. This is like the inside of our sandwich, and then this goes on top of here. Now, what I love about this particular shaker is because these guys are the same size, this is going to be easy to do because we can actually put our shaker material inside and then lay this down like so. But if you can't do that, if they don't match up, maybe this was just a square you were going to apply on top of here that didn't have this area, then you pour your shaker stuff here and then you sit this down, which I may still do that way because that will work really well too. Another thing to make everything easier is use your yellow tape to your advantage. I would use a magnet, but the problem is my palm magnets for my glass mat are too tall. See this? This would hold it in place for me, but it's too tall. So I'm not going to worry about that one. What I'm going to do is stick this down just like that. And I can always pick that up later. Okay, let's do our shaker goodies. I couldn't decide what I wanted to use. I've got these that have these little snowmen. The snowmen are too red for me. They don't match kind of the burnt orange color that's in here. I definitely want these in there. I think those are the perfect color. And I was thinking about these. They don't make me sad, actually. I kind of like them together. We'll lay them out and see what they look like. Let's put all of these in. There's plenty of room for all of these. Plenty. Now, before I sandwich anything down, I want to lay these all nice and flat so nobody's stacked on top of each other. That's going to be cute in there. Those colors are perfect. I'll have all of these linked below, so if you're in the market for some, if you're looking for some little shaker elements or anything like that, we'll have them for you. These guys might not be my favorite, but they're kind of cute. They kind of take the color in a different direction than I had planned on, but I'm just going to see how that'll look. It's not bad, especially it kind of knocks back a little bit once you put the little cover on. What I'm doing now is just seeing how many I'm going to need. I don't want to fill it up, but I also don't want even numbers. So let's move this guy out of here. And these guys may move around. I feel like because they're pretty thick, they won't move much. They'll just kind of move up and down, and that's what we're looking for. All right, so let's get those nestled in. Then this guy's going to go right on top just like that. And let's just check it. Nice, good distance in there. All right, let's put it on. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to reveal the backer all the way around here, these two guys, and I'm going to leave this one alone because of that. I'll peel it off at the end. All right, I'm going to line up the bottom. Using that tape is really helpful because I know my piece won't wiggle. Then I'm just going to line up my sides and press that on down. That's super easy to do. Those might be a little tight in there. It might not be. We'll see. Now I'm going to just peel this off and reach under there and release that little backer piece I left on. Stick that down. Isn't that going to be cute? Look at the little shakers. You know what I like? I like that those are kind of snug and they're kind of staying up. That's kind of cute. One of them got tucked under one of the snowflakes. Let's see if I can get him out. There we go. Yeah, those are kind of cute. I like that a lot. Okay, now what I'm going to do is decide what I'm doing at the top. I kind of want to put a ribbon up here. So I have these two pieces, this kind of green and this little white, this thin white. I think this will be pretty. I'm just going to come up here with my hole punch and make a hole for it. I don't know why, but I'm being picky today, so let's do a little measuring. I think I'm going to do 2 holes so I can run the ribbon through and get a nice bow. So I'm going to use this to help me find my marks here. And I want to come in and maybe 1.25 inches, 1.5 inches on both sides. Let's see what that'll look like. So if I go here, that's 1.5 inches, and here 1.5 inches. I feel pretty good about that. And I might even go down a little further, but that gives me an idea of where to start. I'm going to go there. And I'm going to go there. That way I might not be perfectly centered, but I won't be super off. Now using my bead threader, I'm going to grab this guy and pull him through. So I've tied one bow, and then I think what I'm going to do is run some white underneath this knot. Bring this here, you can see what I'm doing. And do another little bow, maybe even 2 with this thin ribbon. I don't even want to tell you how long I fidgeted with that bow, but we're going to pretend like it took me 2 seconds, but it did not. All right, so now what we're going to do is put this guy onto the front of our little album just like that. And I'm just going to glue him down. And I just opened that up nice and flat so that I could get that down there really good. Remember, mine is curving. Yours may be curving too. My humidity in my room just really made me have a pretty good curve on this. But look how cute that is. It's very simple. It's easy to understand. I think if you had this out on a like a craft fair table or something, people can understand it. And we even talked about you could add little elements here and there from your paper pack, like your little cut apart pieces. So there it is, you guys. That is my little tag album. I think people would really understand this. It's simple, but it makes sense. And of course, you could add like little ephemera cutout pieces here beside the photos. You could wrap little pieces around that maybe gave a place to write a sentiment or journaling spot. You could do so much with this. I think it would be adorable. And honestly, you could journal on the backs of the photos because you could glue the photo onto the little piece and pull it in and out. It'd be super cute. I would like to see this done with blackboard and like a traditional Christmas color. I think that'd be really pretty. So if you're doing one, share it with me over on my Facebook group at Maymay Made It, and so did I, or on our customer gallery at MaymayMadeIt.com. Thanks so much, you guys. Until next time, bye now.